Ahoy! Welcome to the Sea Captain Leadership Podcast with Phil Bender, where we help listeners navigate the uncharted waters of personal and professional growth. The Sea Captain Leadership Podcast is about sharing energizing stories of leadership development and the culture surrounding top-performing individuals and their businesses. We want to help you to take risks and build your vision by showing you how to break free of the boundaries that are holding you back. Today, we welcome Kimberly Buck Goff and Morgan Strahan from Rekroot to the Sea Captain Leadership Podcast. Rekroot is a coaching, consulting, and recruiting firm. Kim and Morgan met back in high school. I can't wait to go there. This is going to be interesting. There's got to be stories to tell. When they were both trying out for the volleyball team, they remained friends. And then Kim, now a recruiter at a Fortune 100 firm, hired Morgan as a financial advisor. The pair started Rekroot as a coaching and consulting firm, and it morphed into a training recruiting program. And then it further evolved into a placement of recruiters, which is now the bulk of the work they do. It's great to have you two both here today. So who met who first? I mean, how did that whole friendship start?
It actually started with Morgan's sister, Reagan. So I met Reagan because we had, the fun, cool neighborhood where everyone hung out. And Reagan's like, you need to meet my sister. And then we met each other at volleyball tryouts. And then it was just history from there.
Okay. So this is going to be bad, but tryouts suggest one of you didn't make the volleyball team. Is that true?
I mean, we both could have. I just chose to go in a different direction.
Okay. I saw Kim hesitate in a panic for a second, so I figured it was Morgan.
I love Morgan.
You had bigger things. You had bigger things to accomplish. I understand, and
I don't know what those were, but yes, I did. Apparently,
probably going out on Friday and Saturday nights partying. I'm not gonna.
Probably.
Yeah, it was a time. It was a time. It
was.
So let's start and let's start with what were your thoughts leaving a financial services firm, doing what you did for all that time? Kim, maybe start with you and form Rekroot.
Mm-hmm. Well, started back in financial services in 2007. So that's quite some time. And after, really sitting there and recruiting specifically for a managing partner or leadership or anything, we said, why don't we go off and do something on our own? And actually, I don't think we've ever shared this before, but I think we were thinking about doing the home edit before home edit was out, organizing things. And then we said, no, most of our network is in financial services. So can we do something around there? And we were just inspired by the coaches that we had. And so we decided, let's just give this a shot. Both of our families are very entrepreneurial. And so I think it's a little bit been in our DNA in order to really just kind of being entrepreneurs ourselves. And so we just gave it a shot and said, let's start something new. And by the way, let's call it Rekroot, which Morgan Googled it and saw the phonetic version. And we were like, that's fun. You know what we're doing. So that's really how we got started. I would say, obviously it's always going to be difficult leaving a big team and having that support. But I think that having and being, I guess, blessed to be in business with your best friend and, someone that you trust explicitly. And, we did do all the right things where we hired a coach to talk us through, hey, does this really work? Will this be okay? And we think we did everything that we need to. And 10 years later, it's still going okay.
Well, it's clearly going okay. And I do, for the audience to know, it is Rekroot spelt phonetically, I guess, and Rekroot, I think, if I got that right.
Correct.
Yeah. Morgan, what would you add there? What, without going into any baggage here, what would you add to that?
I think I would add that when you're in this space and you're recruiting advisors and you're recruiting people into a, you know, you have residual income and you can determine your own, dollar amount. You have flexibility of all this. When you say it every day, 5 times a day
Mhm.
to a candidate and then see it actually come to fruition, it's like, "Well, what am I doing?
Mm.
What am I doing?" So, just a light bulb that took a little bit longer to turn on, but I think
Mhm.
the passion for recruiting is still there, and I think we both have it. It doesn't really fade away, and so it's nice to develop your own thing and be your own boss.
Yeah, it does
Mhm.
it does take a special breed of cat though to recruit, and I've always been
And
comfortable
I
with it.
still don't understand that.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And, I was even rush chairman in my fraternity house. That's how much I liked recruiting, and it was always
Oh, wow.
if I believed in something, I wanted everybody to know about it, and I think that's
Mhm,
Oh, yes, agreed.
right? That is the essence of this thing.
mhm.
So, what are the 4 components to what you guys do now?
I'll kind of tell you the progression of Recruit and then it'll all come together. So
Yeah.
we first started off as a coaching consulting company. So that was the mindset. We just wanted to coach other recruiters and leaders how to recruit better in the broker dealer space. And we did that for about a good year and a half. And then after consistently telling our clients, no, we're not going to recruit for you. We're not going to recruit for you. We said, all right, fine, maybe we should recruit for them. So then we started the second, I should say, division or pillar, where we actually help recruit inexperienced advisors for your broker dealer space that are typically looking to bring on, multiple people in a year to train and to bring them into this career. I think we'll always have an affinity towards recruiting inexperienced individuals because, as we all know, our industry is just dwindling and we need to bring in some new people to this business. And we firmly believe that, we should bring in career changers. We should bring in people out of school because they can do well and that's our next generation. So we really do believe in that. The third portion of it that we have really, I would say, done in addition to that coaching side is we have a pretty exclusive recruiter training program. And that's going to be where not only are we just training them and getting them off to a start, but we will also help hire them and set up the entire interview process. So, truly from start to finish, when someone comes and says, I need a recruiter, I need a CRO, or I need a director of recruiting, we can start from just the sourcing stage to get those leaders in front of the right individual. And then from there, we designed their, I would say, a 2-week training program that's literally structured hour by hour on what exactly it is that they need to be doing. We're involved in that as well as the team is, but we're the one coordinating it all. And then we do training for the next 6 months. And then after that 6 months time period, it goes into more coaching. So it's very structured.
Mm.
And I'm very proud to say that our retention is more than triple what the typical recruiter is. So that really has to go in, I think, from the design of sourcing the right person for that role and then truly giving them the right head start and right way to get up and running. And then our final foundation, which is pretty large for Recruit, is our placement division. Our placement division is where we will work with advisors, we will work with firms when they're looking to hire leaders, when they're looking to hire staff, they're looking to hire like your CFPs that are more just like a planner side, a CFA. So we can really help whenever you're thinking about growing a team. We would help them obviously seek, search, find, place those individuals. And in addition to that, I know I just mentioned the retention for the recruiters. Well, now we have enough data that we're also able to say the retention for the staff that we hire is also significantly higher than normal. So I think that speaks volumes to us being able to find the right people, but also select the right people and helping our clients really understand the art of recruiting.
Wow, well,
Those are their 4 pillars for you.
yeah, well said and comprehensive. My
Thank
gosh,
you.
Morgan, anything you'd add to that? It's pretty thorough.
I think she wrapped it up pretty well.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done. Thanks. See you guys
Yeah,
later. Morgan can go
drop,
over there.
drop the mic when Morgan says, no, I'm good. That's worthwhile. So now,
Yeah.
I'm a woman of many little words.
well, that's, you know what? You're the only one on this call then, because I don't think Kim and I have ever met a stranger. But let's shift gears here. You know, after speaking with you guys, I realized the recruiting program
Mhm.
is included with a fee for the recruiter placement. I'm sure that's not unique for outside recruiters to firms, but
Mhm.
it not only includes the intake, market analysis for hiring,
Mhm.
and the placement, but it's a year-long program that we're talking about here, which you touched on a little bit. You also mentioned 3 years difference in recruiter retention versus what is probably 12 months.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
Mhm.
uh, how do you get that done, Morgan? I mean, what's so unique about what you guys do and how you do it that makes it so successful?
I mean, if you look at experience, right? I mean, and probably similar with you, Phil, if you had a managing partner or financial advisor come to you, right? Like it's just natural. You can explain it. There's maybe some things you can't even put words to, but you're like, I know this is going to be a good advisor. It's the same thing with recruiting. We've done it for so long and we still do it, and that was the one thing at Northwestern when I was there was a lot of those coaches were not actively recruiting. And so there was a little bit of gap in relatability. But with us, we still, I mean, to this day are still recruiting that advisor and getting on the phone with them. So when we talk to a recruiter, we know what it's going to take for them to even get through the first 30 days, let alone the first 3 years.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
yes, it's gonna take skill, it's gonna take grit, it's going to take a certain personality, like you had said with an entrepreneur, there's only so many people that can do it. There's only so many people that can do this type of recruiting.
Yeah.
And so that's where it starts. It's very difficult, and I would even bet money on it that if you bring a recruiter to us and say, "They've been here for a year, I need you guys to help get them going," we might be hesitant, and we definitely won't put a retention number around it because we didn't help recruit them. So
Mhm.
we know from the beginning how to identify the right person that knows how to do this type of recruiting and then setting very strict 30, 60-day activity goals around that. If you don't and you just say, they'll get it. Then after a year, you've got someone that recruited 2 people. I mean, Kim in one of her best years recruited how many, Kim?
21.
Mm.
21. So, if you want someone to teach someone else how to recruit
Mhm.
21, it's best you find someone that's probably done it. So, I think overall, it's just experience having done this. And between Kim and I don't know how many recruiters we've recruited and then coached and
Mhm.
gotten off to a fast start. So, I think it's the experience.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Another
Yeah. No, go ahead, Kim.
Mhm. Sorry, Phil.
No,
I was just
please.
going to say the other thing too that we do is one thing that I think is a big miss that Morgan and I are big components of is doing a 30, 60, 90-day plan.
Mm.
So everybody needs to truly understand what are the expectations in the first 30 days, 60 days, and 90 days. And as simple and basic as that sounds, majority of people out there are not following that because they're like, okay,
Mhm.
they're in. I don't have to worry about it. We're just going to see. We're going to give it 6 months to get up and running. But you really do need to keep your finger on it. You need to sit there and encourage and inspect what you expect. I certainly learned that from one of my mentors in this business. And if you don't do that, then you're just going to consistently, drop the ball and you're going to be in it too much. Too much time has been wasted. The other thing too that as we're people that are listening to this podcast may or may not be looking for a recruiter. There are also two different types of recruiters out there for financial services.
Mhm.
One type is more of your internet recruiter. The other type is more of your referral recruiter. Extremely different skill sets.
Yeah.
And so you really need to sit there and understand, and that's what we do in our fact finding process, is understanding what are their expectations as a leader for this recruiter to accomplish in their first year, second year and third year. And if they, based upon their answers, then we're going to be able to help them understand, well, you're looking for more of an internet-based recruiter versus a referral-based recruiter. So a lot of times people are just putting them under one umbrella. And unfortunately, it's a little bit more strategic than that.
So, and that's really helpful. And
Mm-hmm.
as I'm thinking through this now, okay, so I'm an office, I'm looking to do this, and I appreciate you sharing that to our audience that is not in financial services, to understand that differential. But now, you know, you guys have it sort of introduced this concept before a lot of people do it. Now there's more people doing it. What
Mm-hmm.
motivated you? What did you see that other people didn't see when you started to go down this path?
I mean, I could say what I saw,
Mm-hmm.
but when we were doing the contract recruiting, so when firms were asking us, or offices were asking us to recruit financial advisors for us, that opened a little bit of, a peek under the hood and saying, okay, so what is your number this year? I need to recruit 40 people. Where are you at? Let's say it's July. I'm at 12.
Mm.
I don't think you're going to make it, but we'll keep going down the positive path here. So you've got 12 and you want to get 40. I've always been by the rule of like, right, the cutoff is going to be September. You recruit in 9 months, right? Yes, you're recruiting that last quarter for the next year, but you're recruiting in 9 months. How many recruiters do you have? Well, I have 4. Okay, so we have 4. What's happening with these recruiters? Because you should be definitely at like 40. And so that's where it started to come. And then we would come in for contract recruiting and they would put the pressure on us to be like, well, we need more people. We need more people. And in my head, I'm thinking, you've got 4 people on payroll that are doing this recruiting. Like, what is happening? And
Sure.
so I just don't think there is a ton of resources. And I get it as a managing director, managing partner, chief development officer, manager, sales manager, whatever the title is, there's multiple hats being worn. And to coach and teach a brand new recruiter, it's a lot. It's a
Mm-hmm.
lot. So I don't think it was necessarily the leaders. I just think it was the resources that was provided to anybody.
Yeah, great way to put it.
Yeah, and the time and energy being put into training is extensive, and it's hard to put an exact value on it because, especially a recruiter, you don't really see that return on investment for a little bit of time. So that can be very challenging to do that. I would say where we were the trailblazers in the space was when we started coming in and helping those firms actually recruit. So we, just by hearing that from other firms, or from multiple firms and saying, well, can you just do this for us? We piloted with with a client of ours that actually was with us for at least 8 years. And it was just wonderful. And we kind of figured it out along the way, like how would we really be introducing people to them and so on and so forth. But we found that it is not the norm where all firms will have a recruiter specifically tied to their office. So quite frankly, we saw an opportunity to help fill a need out there. And that's oftentimes what great business ideas are, right? You find something, you create something to make it easier for someone else. So that's kind of what we did. And our job in the beginning was more so about just educating people about how we could be an extension of their team.
Yeah.
And then I think, it was fun to be kind of the trailblazer on that side. And then, luckily there's some more firms out there and doing that and, helping out many firms again to bring in our mission too of bringing more people into this business.
Yeah, and there is an unlimited opportunity, certainly when you're bringing people in who are on straight commission or some type of modified commission.
Mm-hmm.
There's always an unlimited opportunity because not everybody is
Mm-hmm.
wired for it. But also like you, when I started Sea Captain, I knew where the vulnerabilities were. And some of them were my own in my own firm, but I knew where the vulnerabilities were. I knew where the opportunities lied. And yet I also noticed that people just were not paying enough attention to them. If you think about recruiting with a 1-year tenure for most recruiters, how long does it normally take to get up and running to where you feel competent? 18 months. So
3 to 6 months.
yeah, well,
I would say, yeah,
you
at
guys,
least. I mean, 18, yes, but
to where you feel
yeah,
confident, 3 to 6 where you at least feel
Confident.
like you can
Mhm.
do the
confident. Yeah.
job, right? And so,
Yeah.
it's no big surprise that this is a challenge in the industry, and that I'm sure you guys have plenty to do. So when we spoke earlier, you mentioned that your clients always get transparent feedback from you.
Mhm.
Kim, start with you on this one. Could you talk about this and why that trust and transparency is so important to Recruit and the relationship you build?
Yes, I would almost consider that one of our values is radical transparency.
Mm.
You can probably tell that just with our personalities, but there's really no room for fluff at this point, and no time to be wasted. So, oftentimes, when we're working with a client, whether it be on our recruiting and experience advisor side with training and coaching, or even helping recruit on the staffing side. Um, when you're in it so much, like as the team that's looking to recruit, you oftentimes are blinded by certain things. And so it's our job as a partner, truly, of our clients, in order to point out and giving them direct, transparent feedback. It was interesting. I had a really great call with a potential client last week, and she was saying, she's like, "Oh, I hate talking to recruiters. I hate it. I don't like it." I'm like, "Okay, well, thank you for telling me. However, I hope by the end of our conversation, you'll know that we're different." And lo and behold, took her through the entire our process and what we really do, and she's like, "This was a breath of fresh air. You are very different, and thank you, and I'm looking forward to working with you and moving forward." So I think just with us, you're going to get a very real feedback, and we can only improve by good transparency and good communication. So those are just a couple ways that I would say that we're very transparent, and Morgan can certainly add in some more.
Yeah. Anything you want to add there, Morgan?
Um, yeah, I would say, one of the areas that I would do a lot of coaching in was the leaders, was someone that had responsibility to produce, develop, and then also recruit, inexperienced advisors. And I would just have that conversation with them, like, where's your career path going? Do you want to be in leadership? And have that conversation with whoever hired me to coach, and just be like, is this the right person? Like, how much resources are we putting into this person with when they're not really, their heart's not in it. They don't want to be doing it. And so there's a little bit of fear too of like, if I'm the coach and you want me to coach this person, but they don't want to be doing what they're doing, then where's that blame going? And so we want to make sure that it's clear that this person is engaged and wants to be in part of this coaching process, and then or they don't. And that's a conversation that that leader needs to have of like, is this person truly want to be in this leadership role or opportunity or growth pattern? And if they don't, then we need to know that before we put more effort into it too.
Yeah. And so we've spent a lot of time on recruiting, but there's also placement that you do, right, as well. So
Mhm.
it's not just
Mhm.
it's just not in that place. Maybe discuss just briefly, Morgan, some of the placement scenarios that you get involved in.
Yeah. I mean, it naturally came from doing the recruiting with the advisors. And then someone had asked us, like, can you coach? Can you find me a leader? And I'm like, well, what does that mean? And then we started recruiting leaders. I mean, it was I say easy, and then somebody comes and asks me, it's gonna take 6 months. Because we all know leaders in this industry
Sure.
are not, you know, there's not a plethora of them. So a lot of times we'll be asked for, I would say not a lot of times, maybe 10% of the time or 10% of our open positions are going to be leadership. A lot of our roles are going to be with registered investment advisor firms, so RIAs, and that might be the CFPs, the analyst. It might be some of the higher net worth advisors that are recruiting um, someone to help with maybe the B and C client. So a junior advisor,
Uh-huh.
operations, a lot of those roles are taking up a good portion of our placements in our capacity is working in that space. And it's just as new to, I would say, the RIA space. Now, if they're a really big firm, they've probably used a recruiting company before. But when they work with us, again, they're getting more of that hand holding, more of like, we are getting you the ideal candidate over. We are talking to that candidate. We are saving you time. And that is the biggest thing is I'm not here to just send you a bunch of resumes, but I'm really here to make sure I can give you time back on your calendar.
Mhm.
What I anything, Kim, you want to add there? Because I'm sitting here listening to this, and I'm like, boy, you guys are really on the ground with the client here. This is not just a
Mhm.
Mhm.
machine. You're not just processing data. This isn't a technology play. I'm sure you use it,
No.
but this is really, really on the ground.
Yeah, I mean,
With
I
the
would really
intelligence and
consider
technology.
us right, technology. I would really consider us a partner. I mean, I think that
Yeah.
that's something that we talk about consistently. And with a partner, sometimes you're going to hear things that you want to hear, and sometimes you're going to hear things that you don't want to hear. However, we really want to help people improve and grow. And oftentimes, because our space is wealth management. So oftentimes when we're helping somebody hire, they don't hire and interview and recruit all day, every day. They're working with clients. So as easy as a lot of times people are like, oh, I can interview people, like whatever. There's actually an art behind it. And so when we work with our clients on a premier level, we also provide them feedback on their interview. So we'll record the interview, we'll listen to it and say, here's, some things that we could see you improve on. Here are some really great things that you did. So not only that, we also kind of have that coaching aspect on the hiring side for the advisors in those firms too. In addition, we get real-time feedback from our candidates. So we will not buffer that for our clients because not everybody is perfect. And, that's something that we'll provide to them. And in turn, we also give that candid feedback to our candidates. So the hope is that if they're not a good fit here, or with the role that we're interviewing them for, we would love to put them in a better position for them to get the job that they want. And so we'll give them that direct feedback as well. So yeah, it sums it up with a nice little bow, radical transparency in all aspects of our
Yeah,
business.
and knowing you now and having spent some time, it's really great. And this last question, I'd be remiss if I didn't take a minute to, because this is on leadership and
Mhm.
mentors that you had ongoing. But I'd be remiss if I didn't take a second and give a shout out to my recruiter when I was throughout my career, Sue Lewandowski, who you both know, and
Mhm.
her 23-year tenure, still continuing, 23 years with
Mhm.
me, still doing recruiting
Yes.
consulting. I will not tell you how old she is, but because she would kill me, but it does give me an opportunity to honor her because of the
Yeah.
wonderful work. But talk about the leaders and mentors in your development that shaped you and Recruit into what you are today. Maybe Morgan, start with you.
Hmm. Um, that's a good question. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot. Um, you know, I mean, there was if I ever go back and say who was a great mentor, it was somebody it was in my I was in retail before I got into financial services, and she showed me what a true leader and what a true manager should be. She was amazing. It just warms my heart to, like, be able to reach out to her for anything. We don't talk as often. But then when I think about where, Recruit is and what kinda took us there, I mean, the first person that recruited me into business was Kim, and she taught me how to recruit. And so if I didn't have that foundation from Kim, I don't think that there would be that space to have a mentorship. And then there was obviously managing directors, managing partners along the way. I don't know if any of them stuck for very long. I went through quite the few managing partners during my time. But there was a couple coaches I had, and I would say the coaches, it wasn't always just the good coaches, it was the bad coaches too, because it helped me define what I don't want to
Yeah.
be.
Mhm.
And so I think just in a general sense, if you're in that position of having a coach or a mentor or a leader that maybe you're not liking or it's not working, like always try to find a learning opportunity out of it. because then you're only going to appreciate when you find the right one. So I feel like it's more of a general sense. There's not like a specific one that has definitely stuck out, but I think just taking each opportunity when I get that coaching or get that mentorship, where's the good in the learning out
I
of
love it. Everything is learning, right? Kim, what would you add there?
Mhm.
Oh, I don't know if I should name names or whatever, but I probably have 5 people that have made a major influence on my life. It was my first boss in the staffing industry, Deb Strev. She is awesome. She is the most transparent person I've ever come across, and highly respect that woman. And she was a tough cookie. And, this was the situation, and I know, I don't want to bore anybody, but when I worked there, we worked in a bullpen. All right. And desks there were 6 desks, like literally right next to each other. I couldn't have a computer. I didn't have an email until 6 months or 12 months.
Oh my gosh.
And my boss literally sat next to me the entire time. So whenever we got somebody on the phone, she would say, look at me. And I had to read her lips. I would it was intense. And
classic.
But that was the person who also, she taught me professionalism and everything too. So that really was that foundation. And then, I've learned from some of the best in the industry, Harry Hoopus, Craig Quinlan was my managing director and managing partner. And he is truly one of the best recruiters and developers that I still have come across. And I respect him so much. And we're still very good friends too. And then other coaches that we've had as well, like Lynn Castelletto, Andrew Bullard, and a couple other people.
Yeah.
Those are some names just in this industry, but have had major influence on my life. And I'm very, very appreciative. And I mean, there's so many other people, but those are probably the 5 that really stick out to me consistently. And I'm very grateful for.
Yeah. And whether, it's there's learning from all elements, as Morgan mentioned. Sometimes you learn what not to do, but then there's also certain people that, when you reflect back, they were at a place when you were vulnerable, or they were there for you. They were transformational. That's a term used a lot now. So guys, great job. This was a lot of fun for me. And appreciate you guys being here today. We're going to be putting your contact information and your website in the show notes for all of our listeners. And is there anything else you want to mention before we sign off, either of you?
We don't recruit experienced people.
Oh, interesting. That's worth checking into right away.
It's a constant question.
Yeah.
Yeah. The constant question.
Great one.
Like, when we first started the business to recruit, there was like, well, we need you to move a book of business. We need you to recruit this person. We need a book of business. I'm like,
yeah. You know what? I'm so glad you said that, because if I'm out there, I might have thought that. So I think that's a great ad. With that being said, great job. Well done. We'll talk soon. I'm sure our paths will cross. Kimberly Buck Hoff. Goff. I'm kidding. I said early on, it's Goff. It's Goff. Cough with a G. And Morgan Strahan.
Yes.
Rekroot. Great to have you.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for joining us for this edition of the Sea Captain Leadership Podcast. If you found the conversation valuable, please like, share, and post a review on your favorite podcast app. To learn more about Sea Captain and its high-performance coaching programs, visit us at seacaptaincoaching.com. The link is in the show notes. You can also follow us at Sea Captain Coaching on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Thanks again for listening. Wishing you fair winds and a following sea on your journey.